How did you come up with the idea of the StAIRilizer?
It was early March, and I was watching a news program, and they had a segment about a doctor from the 70s that had a tuberculosis clinic, and he had used UVC lighting inside of his clinic to prevent the spread of tuberculosis when people were inside of his clinic. So they had used UVC lights that pointed up at the ceiling, and then they had a ceiling fan that would draw air across and through the light energy. And they felt like that because of that, no one had ever contracted tuberculosis while inside of his clinic. So I went online to see what I could find. I found the fixtures that they had that he had used. They're very commercial looking. They're $6,000 or $7,000. But one of the things that you needed is you needed a ceiling higher than 8 feet to do it, because you needed the light pointed up at the ceiling. So I decided that since I couldn't find one, that I would just build one. Currently we were locked down. Even though I was leaving to go to work most days and coming back home, I still had a lot more time than I normally might have. So I decided to build one. And using a UVC light and a fan to draw air through the dosing chamber itself, I came up with the StAIRilizer.
What were you thinking when you put the first one in your house?
I was a little nervous because I was still unsure of exactly, how everything worked and what it did. One of the things I'd found out, they'd said that if you UVC, would kill plants and harm animals and stuff like that. So when I brought the first one up and plugged it in, I pretty much just covered it up with plants. I only ran it at night, so none of us were in the room, or none of my family was in the room when I was running it. I made sure that the cats were put up at night, that our pets wouldn't be harmed. And after a few weeks, there were no problems. All the plants still looked good. None of them were dying. And so I felt like I had probably been able to contain the UVC light within inside the box. And I felt like it was safe for everybody to be around it when it was running.
Who do you see as the ideal person who should purchase the box?
I feel the ideal person to purchase the box is someone just like myself, where some of the family members may or may not leave the house during the day, but some of the family members do leave the house during the day. Personally, when I leave the house, I always have a mask. I'm constantly putting hand sanitizer on. I'm very careful with how I just going to go about my life in this pandemic era. But one of the things that that bothered me was when I do get home, I'm going to take the mask off. And if for any reason during the day I have contracted the virus and I'm asymptomatic, then as I'm home, I'm going to be breathing the virus germs out into our air for the other family members to breathe in and then become infected. So to me, anyone that has people that leave their house and come back in, once you get home, obviously you're going to take your mask off. I feel like those are the perfect people, because it's, especially with the winter now, the windows are going to be closed. In a sense, the StAIRilizer running is just like having an open window for fresh air in your house.